Good afternoon and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here today with lovely Piper and Brandy, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is Piper's ability to understand and respond to her intermediate obedience training. Now I say intermediate because advanced obedience training is primarily off-leash and basic obedience is primarily on-leash. So she is somewhere in between, so we call that intermediate. And the first thing that we're going to introduce is the training equipment that we're using. Brandy is using a regular 6-foot web training leash. She keeps the bulk of the leash folded neatly in her right hand. That leaves her left hand free to give any correction that's needed, and the only correction that we give is a gentle tug and release on the training collar. And that is a reminder to Piper to either pay attention or that something that she's doing is not to our liking. But for the most part, she is very motivated by praise, which is our preferred method of training. Now, she is sitting very nicely at Brandy's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done. And the first exercise that we're going to be demonstrating for you is heeling. Now, when we're working on intermediate obedience, we always start out on leash first. Piper's being taught to heel, which is walking with her shoulders next to your left leg, and when you stop your feet, she sits automatically without being told to wait for her next command. So this makes walking her a pleasure. She is not leading the walk, you are leading the walk, and when you stop to cross the street or talk to a neighbor, she is sitting quietly at your left and waiting for her next command. Now what Brandy has done is taken the leash, thrown it over her shoulders, so she's actually hands off, and now her only communication with Piper is verbal. She's tapping her legs, she's talking to her quietly and softly, encouraging her, but she doesn't have her hands on the leash, and believe me, Piper knows that. And she's looking up at Brandy. She's focused. If Brandy needs to reach down to grab the leash to offer a correction or to get her back on track, she can do that relatively easily, and then she can throw the leash back up over her shoulder. And when she stops, nice automatic sit. If she doesn't sit right away, Brandy just took her finger and gently gave that little tug on the training collar. Now the next exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is the sit-stay. Stay is a hand and a voice command, and because it is a stationary exercise, it is a one-word command. Your long sit-stay helps to develop self-control and attention span and focus, maturity, all the things that these sporting dogs just don't have. They should be out hunting in the field, and when they're not, we have to replace it. When Brandy returns back to her, she walks all the way around her. She stops back at her shoulders. And at this point, Piper expects to get another command, and they take off heeling again. If Brandy speeds up, changes direction, Piper should do the same. But if you notice, Piper's looking at Brandy for, like, what am I supposed to do next? Or what am I supposed to do next? And that is the eye contact that you're looking for from her. We don't want her all willy-nilly all over the place, looking at birds, you know, sniffing the ground. She should be focused on her trainer. Now this time, instead of returning back to her, Brandy's going to call her. This is the recall or the come on command. And what we're teaching her is to come and sit, because I know jumping was a problem for her. So she has to continue you need to continue to reinforce that if you want to get that praise, you come and you sit. If you don't sit, you're not getting what you're looking for, which is your praise, your approval, your attention. She's got an itch. Just heel her out of it. She leaves her in a sit-stay. She walks out to the end of her training leash. You can practice this indoors as well as outdoors too. Brandy calls her. That was a better recall, actually. And then they go back to heeling. Now, it is important to practice with your video And I know you've had some training with her, so you're not completely novice at this, but this gives you, you know, something to work with at home, a visual to work with at home. Now the next command that Brandy's going to demonstrate is the down from a heel position. So with her seated at your left, you use your left open palm straight down toward the ground, the one word command to down and stay. Your long down stay, when you're practicing at home, you're going to move upwards to 5 minutes. When Brandy returns back to her, she has dropped the leash. She comes back and stops at her shoulders. She then picks up the leash and she gives her the next command. And Piper enjoys pleasing. She enjoys working. She likes it. She does a good job. She likes that one-on-one attention. And this should be incorporated into every stage of your life with her. You have her sit and stay at all your entries and exits, or down and stay. Down and stay maybe on a kitchen throw rug while you're eating dinner or watching a movie. All of these things are to be used in your everyday living situations. Brandy calls her in, has her sit, tells her what a good girl she is, and heals her out of it. Brandy's going to leave her in this, she's going to put her into a down one more time from heel. And she is able to drop the leash, as you saw her do on this command. She calls her right in and has her sit, and she sits pretty and looks up. You can see how focused she is, which I love that focus. And the very last command that we're going to demonstrate for you is her down from a distance. So Brandy leaves her in a sit-stay. She turns to face her. This is the only time that we use the right hand to give the command. And she drops her into a down from a distance. Now, Brandy told her, watch me, because she was starting to sniff the ground. And whenever a dog starts sniffing on a down stay, it's usually a prelude to them getting up. So you don't want her sniffing the ground. Brandy dropped her leash, returned all the way back around her. So we have demonstrated for you all of Piper's basic and some intermediate obedience commands. She has done a great job here at school. She's a very, very lovely dog. And we've enjoyed every minute of having her, and we want to thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company, and we will see you very soon.